Today in this episode, a true transfer bombshell that is set to shock the entire football world. Beckham and Messi are attempting to rescue the career of the legendary Neymar and are already cooking up a secret boardroom plot at Inter Miami to revive the iconic MSN trio. Meanwhile, Hansi Flick's Barcelona is officially wrapping up the capture of Karim Adeyemi and deciding the future of Rafinia, while London Chelsea has placed Argentine Garnacho on the transfer list. Hit the like button and subscribe, and let us get started. Just as we predicted, this transfer was wrapped up at breakneck speed. Now it is entirely official. Barcelona has reached a full agreement with Borussia Dortmund for the transfer of Karim Adeyemi. The clubs have shaken hands and settled on a guaranteed transfer fee of 22 million euros, with an additional 7 million structured as performance-related bonuses tied to appearances and future silverware. The German winger himself was only considering a move to Catalonia. Adeyemi will put pen to paper on a long-term 5-year contract with the Blaugrana. Hansi Flick finally lands the explosive and versatile attacking weapon he has been demanding from the board for so long. Looking at how this unfolded, here is my take. Barca has pulled off a magnificent and highly economical piece of business. Snapping up a 24-year-old dynamic German for 22 million in the current market landscape is an absolute transfer steal for a club currently counting every single penny. Following the signing of Karim Adeyemi, a logical question arises: what does the future hold for Rafinia? However, the situation surrounding the Brazilian remains crystal clear. The arrival of Adeyemi poses absolutely no threat to the future of the Catalans' talisman. The 29-year-old Rafinia has already made a definitive choice regarding his future. Amid swirling rumors of astronomical financial packages from Saudi Arabia, the winger held a press conference where he publicly declared that he is staying at Barcelona and remains an indispensable part of Hansi Flick's project. What is more, both parties are currently finalizing the terms of a new contract extension running until the summer of 2029. The Catalans have zero reason to discard the player. The acquisitions of Adeyemi and Gordon are tactical moves by Flick aimed at constructing squad depth for the Champions League. Given that the German is highly versatile, the manager plans to utilize his blistering pace predominantly on the left wing. Meanwhile, Rafinha will continue to tear it up in his preferred position on the right flank or through the center as a number 10, both competing and linking up with Lamine Yamal. London Chelsea is prepared to offload yet another high-profile name. An inside scoop from Fabrizio Romano confirms that 22-year-old Argentine winger Garnacho has been placed on the transfer list. Following a thoroughly underwhelming debut campaign at Stamford Bridge, where he managed a meager 1 goal in 24 Premier League appearances, the new Blues boss Xabi Alonso has made it explicitly clear that the Argentine has no place in his tactical blueprints. The club is eager to trim the squad but will exclusively entertain a permanent sale. The leading contender for the player's signature is Italian outfit Napoli. The new manager of the Neapolitans, Massimiliano Allegri, views Garnacho as the perfect attacking reinforcement, where he could potentially reunite with his former Manchester United teammates McTominay and Højlund. However, the Italians are currently only offering a loan deal with an option or obligation to buy, whereas the Londoners are flatly demanding a permanent transfer right now. A similar situation is unfolding with Roma, as the Giallorossi are also holding out for a loan deal later in the summer. The most lucrative avenue for Chelsea remains Saudi Arabia. Middle Eastern clubs are the only ones capable of stumping up the desired £60 million without batting an eye. For the Blues, this is a marvelous opportunity to turn a profit, considering they originally purchased the youngster for $40 million. Garnacho himself, who even missed out on Argentina's World Cup squad due to a severe dip in form and a crisis of confidence, is now ready to consider the oil millions to kickstart his career and escape the suffocating media scrutiny. Thus, Garnacho has completely squandered his wonder kid status in just a single year at Chelsea, and his departure is merely a matter of time. Xabi Alonso is building a structured collective devoid of temperamental individuals, so the Londoners will push until the bitter end to secure hard cash from the Saudis or force Napoli to produce a proper check. By the way, Manchester United is watching these developments with keen interest, as they are guaranteed to pocket 10% of the transfer fee from any future sale of the player. But look at this intriguing trend. Garnacho was at United when the club was in a dreadful state. The player left, and while it was not instantaneous, United flourished upon the arrival of Carrick. Then Garnacho joined Chelsea, and the Londoners slumped to a 12th place finish in the Premier League. Is he truly that toxic, or is it all just a bizarre coincidence? 22-year-old Brazilian midfielder Santos has successfully cleared his medical examination and signed a long-term contract with Manchester United, valid until June 2031. The legal paperwork is finalized, and the deal is officially complete. United will pay London Chelsea £48 million in guaranteed cash, with an additional $2 million structured as performance bonuses. Furthermore, the Blues will retain a 10% sell-on clause from any future sale of the player. This deal was meticulously planned well in advance. It has emerged that the transfer was by no means a panic-driven Plan B following the Tchouaméni situation. As it turns out, Santos's agents held clandestine meetings with the United board back in February and March, laying a solid foundation for the summer switch. The Brazilian personally requested Xabi Alonso to let him go, as his heart was set on playing at Old Trafford rather than enduring endless loan spells or sitting on the Chelsea bench. For Michael Carrick, this is a critically important arrival, especially since the defensive midfield slot was left entirely exposed following the departure of Casemiro. Given this timeline, here is my perspective. United has executed a brilliant tactical maneuver, securing a player starved of minutes who is widely hailed in Brazil as the heir to Casemiro. Instead of blowing a wild $100 million on Tchouaméni, the club calmly secured a highly promising Brazilian for half that price to compete in the Premier League. The boy has landed the opportunity of a lifetime, and now it is entirely up to his performances on the pitch. 24-year-old English forward Mason Greenwood has agreed personal terms with Turkish side Fenerbahce. The player has already informed the management of Marseille that he is ready to switch club allegiances and sign a contract running until 2030. The financial package on offer in Turkey proved to be the decisive factor in these negotiations. The Istanbul outfit tempted the Englishman with a luxurious salary, roughly €10 million net per year, which will instantly make him one of the highest-paid players in the league. Marseille and Fenerbahce are engaged in final discussions over the transfer fee, which is expected to total around €40 to €45 million once add-ons are factored in. The French club is forced to sanction this sale to trim the wage bill and comply with financial restrictions, despite a spectacular season from Greenwood, who netted 26 goals across all competitions and earned a spot in the team of the season. Greenwood opted for financial security and a less intense league. With options from Roma and Atletico on the table, Mason chose to head where he will not face such relentless hounding from the European press, and the astronomical salary only cemented his choice. Incidentally, Marseille will have to cough up a hefty 40% of the profit to Manchester United due to their previous sell-on agreement. Negotiations for Emiliano Martinez have entered a phase of intense brinkmanship. Dibu himself is fully intent on joining Juventus and has already agreed to a 3-year contract worth €5.5 million net per year, even agreeing to lower his financial expectations to push the move through. However, the clubs remain worlds apart from a compromise. Juventus made an opening gambit, offering a meager €6 to €7 million for the shot stopper. The hierarchy in Birmingham branded this sum as laughable and instantly froze talks, sticking to a rigid price tag of €15 to €20 million for their star man, who recently won the Europa League. For Juve, this presents a massive hurdle, as their failure to qualify for the Champions League means their internal valuation for the 33-year-old goalkeeper tops out at $10 million. Should the English club refuse to lower their demands, the Turin side will instantly pull the plug on the operation and pivot toward a cheaper deal for Guglielmo Vicario from Tottenham. Given the circumstances, here is how I see it. Aston Villa is completely justified in turning up their nose, offering pocket change for the world's finest international goalkeeper, whose contract runs until 2029, is an act of sheer audacity from the Italians. The English side is calmly holding their ground, and everything now hinges on whether Martinez can personally apply pressure on his club's board, or if Juventus will move to sign Guglielmo Vicario. Authoritative Brazilian outlet UOL Esporte has dropped a bombshell inside scoop that has sent shockwaves through the footballing world. 34-year-old Neymar is seriously contemplating hanging up his boots and retiring from professional football in the coming days. The Brazilian is mentally exhausted, drained by the relentless pressure, and feels that his 15 years of service to the national team have never been truly appreciated. The final straw for him was the catastrophic exit of the Brazil national team at the World Cup, where the Seleção crashed out in the round of 16 against Norway. Neymar had rushed his recovery from major knee surgery specifically for this tournament, only to register less than a single half of football combined across the entire event. His penalty goal against the Norwegians in the 100th minute ultimately changed nothing. Immediately after the final whistle, the heartbroken midfielder confirmed that his journey at the World Cup is definitively over. Currently, the management of Santos has granted the superstar an extended vacation in the United States to spend time with his family and make a final decision. There are three paths on the table: remain at Santos and see out his contract until December 2026, move to MLS to join Beckham in a lower pressure league, or simply call time on his career. The situation is so critical that the player's father has already published an emotional plea on social media, begging his son not to abandon the game. Thus, considering everything unfolding around the Brazilian, I see only one realistic scenario. Neymar has just two paths left. He will either play alongside Messi in America, or he will walk away from football forever right now. There is simply no middle ground, and if Ney expresses even the slightest desire to give it another go, Beckham will bend over backward to find a way to sign him. Even though all designated player slots at Miami are currently filled, the Americans are prepared to pull off any boardroom stunt necessary, sending Borussia out on loan, restructuring contracts, or shifting league budgets. The Inter management will do whatever it takes to resurrect the legendary and once unrivaled MSN trio Messi, Suárez, and Neymar. Therefore, absolutely everything now hinges entirely on Neymar's own decision. Drop a comment below. Do you believe in a final dance for Neymar in sunny Miami and a rebirth of the MSN trio, or is it truly time for the Brazilian to retire?